Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to talk now about changes in quantity demand and demanded. These are things that around your coffee table, when you're discussing things, you usually say change in demand. But in economics, we use very specific terms, and quantity demanded means something different than demand. A little bit of this may be repetitive as we talk about demand schedules and things from the last lecture that we had. So just hang in there with me. I've got the guided notes up because I know there were some frustrations about making sure that they stay going. So we're going to make sure that we follow along with that and that it's a little bit easier for everybody. So for starters, we kind of open up with this idea of what are diminishing marginal returns. And diminishing marginal returns are the idea that you get less and less benefit as you buy more and more of something. So if you think about you're opening up that box of Krispy Kreme donuts and that first donut is amazingly delicious, and the second donut might even be amazingly delicious. But as you eat more and more donuts, you begin to not enjoy the donuts quite as much. And in fact, at some point, you might go negative on your marginal return, as in bleh. So that's diminishing marginal returns. And that's a piece of why the demand schedule sets up the way it does. When you look at a demand schedule, which is the quantity that is demanded at a particular set of prices, you'll see that even as the price goes really, really low, $3 for a whole pizza, that's better than you can get at Little Caesars right now. There's still a limit to how much people demand because only so many pizzas are useful. At some point, you'll have leftovers. At some point, you'll fill up your fridge. At some point, it's not worth making 2 trips in the car and using all that gas. And everything is like that. There's such a thing as too much of a good thing. So that demand schedule right now may look different for different products, and your individual demand may look different. You may eat a lot of pizzas, or you may not eat very much pizza at all. But when we combine it together, we get a market's demand schedule. So when we say quantity demanded in economics, we are talking about a different quantity that's made at every single price, and this is one equation. So this equation might be defined as 15 minus 2x. And when you fill in these different points, you would get the different answers that you got. So once you put the price in, you would get a different answer for the amount of pizzas that come out. So that's like a single equation, just like you're used to in algebra. But if you also remember from algebra, you would often be asked to shift an equation. So remember what happens if you take x and then you change it to x plus 2 or x minus 1 and things like that. Well, that is going to be a change in demand. So we already defined our demand curve from our earlier lecture, but that is the graph of our demand schedule. Okay, quantity demanded is the amount demanded at different points. So here you could draw a line and put a couple of points to show that. And our quantity demanded, you can fill in your table from our price points here. And then here we're showing a change in quantity demanded. So as you move from point A to point B, the price is going, and I want you to highlight whether it's going up or down here. So let's talk about what changes price. One thing is a sale. So if you have a situation where you have a surplus, lots of goods that aren't being sold, and you put them on sale, you would have a change in quantity demanded. You'd also, of course, have a change in quantity supplied over here. And that would bring you down toward the equilibrium price. If you played the lemonade game on Cool Math Games, you'll notice that sometimes you need to drop your price to sell your product. You've got a surplus and you need to drop that price. Another thing that changes price is a change in supply. So when equilibrium price changes, you'll see a change in supply. And what happens there is something has been made a lot more. For example, you had a really good year for blueberries. So there's lots and lots of blueberries in the market, and the supply has gone way up. Blueberries are something that spoil, so you need to charge a lower price for the blueberries because they'll go away. So they go on sale during the summertime. Right now, other sort of spring goods are on sale, strawberries, things like that, where the supply has gone up and therefore they have to drop the price in order to sell it. Change in demand. This is when the quantity demanded at every price is different. So right now, the demand for hotel rooms has changed because people don't want to stay in hotels. So at these prices, if we're talking about, we had pizza earlier, maybe if it's pizza at a sit-down restaurant, people are not going to sell as much, even at these prices, because of the concerns about spreading the coronavirus. So you'll see that the demand curve has shifted to the left. So you get a whole new demand schedule, and that means a whole new curve. So here's what I really want you to take away. If I say a change in price, I want you to think a change in quantity demanded. All right, say it with me so that whoever's around you looks at you like a weirdo. A change in price means a change in quantity demanded. A change in price means a change in quantity demanded. I know you're not saying it. You better say it. Are you ready? Change in price means a change in quantity demanded. Okay? A change in demand means you sell a different amount at the same price. So even if the price didn't change, people would not buy new plane tickets. Although we dropped the price for plane tickets and people still aren't buying a lot of plane tickets right now because the demand has shifted so far to the left. All right, here are the things that shift the demand curve. So, taste, related goods, income, buyers, and expectations. So here, I want you to fill in your determinants of demand. So you put taste, related goods like complements and substitutes, put complements here in number 2, substitutes in number 3, and then income, buyers, and expectations. So let's shift down. We are going to look at an increase in demand. So I want you to create an increase in demand here. Make sure you put price on your y-axis, quantity on your x-axis, and show demand increasing. So you're going to draw a graph of demand, and you're going to show that increase in demand. That means demand shifts to the right. More is to the right. Demand is pretty easy to follow. Supply tends to be a little trickier, but what will never lie to you is the market quantity. So if you look down here on your quantity axis, you're going to move on that number line along it to the right, and you're always going to shift to the right if you have more. Conversely, a decrease in demand, you're going to have less, you're going to shift to the left. So demand will shift to the left here. Click on your decrease in demand and shift that to the left. Let's talk about taste. So coming up here to our headline, when a good becomes more popular, demand goes up. So I have a couple of examples of goods that have increased in demand because of taste. And taste really fits a lot of different categories. So almost always taste applies, even if other things don't. So I have a couple of examples of things you may remember: Silly Bands, Visco Girls, so all the items that go with that. So your headline should say something. I want you to write something different, but Visco Girl trend leads to increase in Hydro Flask or scrunchie sales. So write something there for yourself that shows an increase in taste. And one suggestion here, you might want to pick a good that has complements and substitutes, things that go with it, things that go in place of it, and use that to fill in your headlines here. Now, here for taste, when good becomes more popular, I want you to highlight whether you buy more or less, and highlight what happens to demand. And then I want you to graph what happens with the Hydro Flask when Visco Girls become popular. If you're not familiar with Visco Girls, be aware that they are super cool, as my 11-year-old daughter will tell you, and they carry around Hydro Flask and make little sounds like sk, 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 sk. Doesn't make sense to me, but it doesn't have to. All right, complements. So complementary goods are goods that go together. So when a complementary good goes on sale, the other goods demand is going to go up. So we're going to have a change. Let's talk about peanut butter and jelly. If we have a change in the price of peanut butter, we have had a change in quantity demanded. Notice I said price and I said quantity demanded. If we have a change in the price of peanut butter, picture yourself in the store. You just put some peanut butter in your cart. What are you going to put in the cart to go with it? Jelly, bread, bananas. Okay, those are complementary goods. So demand for complementary goods goes up without changing the price. So when you put the one on sale, the demand for the other goes up. Also notice I should be spelling complement with an E. This is a geometry term. Complementary angles add together to give you 90 degrees. Complementary goods go together. So notice my spelling change there on the fly. Milk and cereal, bacon and eggs, complementary goods. So putting one on sale increases the quantity demanded of the first good and the demand for the complementary good. If I put bacon on sale, the quantity demanded will change because I changed the price. So the only reason I'm buying more bacon is I saw it was on sale. Eggs, I'm buying not because eggs are on sale, but because they are delicious and they go well with bacon. Good luck finding bacon, eggs, milk, or bread right now at the store, thanks to some concerns with coronavirus. All right, so here you're going to highlight and fill in your chart, complement and substitute, and then take a minute and go up to the top and fill in your headline with your determinant. So for your complementary good, something that goes with your purchase. For your substitute good, something that goes in place of your purchase. Just worth noting here, I will have to tell you if goods are complementary. My son likes peanut butter and ham sandwiches. I always thought of those two goods as substitutes. He thinks of them as complements. While I'll make some assumptions on my tests, on an exam, they typically will tell you, or as you get further in econ, you can actually run a test to see if the math works out. All right, let's talk about substitute goods. So demand for these goods work in the opposite direction. If one's on sale, the other changes its demand. So, for example, if Sweet and Low is on sale, that's going to be a change in quantity demanded for Sweet and Low. I'll buy more Sweet and Low, which means I'll buy less Equal or Splenda. For price-sensitive customers, people who, and you know this person who's so cheap, they'll buy Coke or Pepsi based on what's on sale. I used to be that person. I'm now just a Coke convert. But if Coca-Cola is on sale, I'll buy the Coca-Cola, and my demand for Pepsi will change accordingly. In this graph, though, it says the price of Coca-Cola has gone up, so my demand for Pepsi goes up. So I'm standing at the store, I see that Coca-Cola's prices are a lot higher than last week, and I put the Pepsi in my cart instead. Another good example with this is meat. I'm going to cook some meat for dinner. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy pork or steak or chicken. I look and the chicken's on sale. So I had the steak in my cart. I take the steak out and put it back on the shelf, and I put the chicken in my cart. Those are substitute goods. So I always imagine myself in the grocery store. Next up is income. It's pretty straightforward. So if incomes go up, we increase demand. If incomes go down, we decrease demand. So I want you to graph a change in income when income changes here. And why don't we graph a change in income when income decreases? So what happens to your change in demand for pretty much all goods when income decreases? Now, our standards don't discuss normal versus inferior goods, but I will mention that in case you see it on a test question somewhere. Normal goods are goods that you buy when times are good and your money's going up, you'll buy more of those. Inferior goods are goods that you buy more of when your income goes down. So the classic example there are ramen noodles. You might enjoy ramen noodles on the regular, but when things are hurting, you're going to buy more ramen noodles and less steak. So normal goods are goods that we typically talk about in our course that you increase or decrease demand along with income. So more income, more normal goods. Inferior goods go the opposite direction, and there is, as you go further in economics, a test to figure out which is which. All right, expectations is the last one. This one's often hard to teach, but given what's going on in our economy right now, this one's a good bit easier to explain. So expectations is harder to teach because it's what you do now based on what you think will happen in the future. There are a lot of people that did not need toilet paper this Saturday, but they went and bought toilet paper out of fear that the store was going to run out. So rumors went around, hey, the store's running out of toilet paper, or eggs, or milk, or hand sanitizer. So people went and bought a lot more than they needed. The price did not change, and in some cases, maybe the price went up. People still continued to buy. That's because you thought that prices would go up, so your demand went up right now because you were afraid of a shortage or an increase in price. If you think prices are going to drop in the future, your demand will actually go down. And the example I give is my mom usually gives me some birthday money in November. My birthday is early in November. I like to buy a new Kindle or something like that, a new laptop. So I save my money, I add my mom's money, and then I don't buy it in early November. Why not? I think Black Friday is coming, and a lot of electronics go on sale on Black Friday. Am I sure that I can get that sale price? Am I sure that I can get that good before someone else buys it? Absolutely not. But Because I expect that prices will go down, my demand right now goes down. I'll wait till Black Friday. If I don't get the sale, then I'll reevaluate. So that's how expectations work, and of course, that's been a big part of our lives. Population is very straightforward. If population goes up, demand for goods in general go up. If population goes down, demand for goods in general go down. So again, graph that. Go back and check, make sure that you filled in your headlines here in our notes, and that's it for our demand lecture. We're going to discuss supply tomorrow. Stay safe out there.